Jesus feeding the multitude. You know, I love food. So if Jesus is feeding the crowd, we can't overlook.
Food is good.
Food is life. You know, Jesus is life giver. So he gives food.
Food is life. Food and water, which one is life?
Anyway, water is food.
We take water and people tell us we have not eaten. No.
Water is food.
Okay.
Yes. But you need food after eating water. You know, we need to understand some things. God is not only interested in our spiritual welfare. He is the God of our physical life too. He cares for both our spirits and our bodies. He cares for our life here and our life in eternity. That is why when people were hungry, he gave them physical food. No, at times we talk too much. We over-theologize everything. If somebody is poor, the person needs money.
Of course.
If somebody is sick, the person needs prayer and medication. A homeless person does not just need consolation.
He needs a home.
Yes. He needs money to rent one room. So let us get to know that. And I know God will be our favor and our blessings at all times. And if God could feed 5,000 people with just 5 loaves, you alone, how much will you eat? That Jesus cannot feed you. How much at all will you need? That Jesus cannot feed you. He fed 5,000 with just 5 loaves. You rather, he doesn't need a loaf. So don't kill yourself because of hunger. When people are even wicked towards you, tell God to feed you. Give us this day our daily bread. It didn't say our daily grace. Our Father prayer prays for physical bread, not for grace. So may God supply our bread.
Amen.
And may we be like that young boy whom Andrew consulted for the 5 loaves.
Amen.
Give the little out. God will multiply them for his glory.
Sure. Amen.
Yes. So now we go to John's Gospel. To continue where we left. John the Baptist has been able to give Jesus to people. And he didn't follow. So bad.
Verse 39, John's Gospel chapter 1 verse 39.
So 38, and we know the question Jesus is referring to.
So we start from 38.
Yes.
Jesus came and saw them following and said to them.
Meaning they have not drew closer to him.
No, from afar. Jesus saw them from afar.
And he invites them. You see how lovely he is?
Yeah.
How gracious he is. He doesn't leave you to make that struggling effort to be the king. And remember the prodigal child.
Yeah.
Jesus is that king who meets you on the way, comes and embraces you and lead you home. So he didn't allow the guys to go in search of him, but he rather asked them, what do you want? And then they say, Rabbi, where do you stay? Then we go to 29. 39.
He said to them,
Yes.
come and see.
Come and see.
They came and saw where he was staying, and they stayed with him that day, for it was about the 10th hour.
Now, a little bit of biblical terminology. If there's anything like that. If the 3rd hour is 9 o'clock in the morning, the 6th hour is 12 o'clock in the afternoon. The 9th hour is 3 o'clock in the afternoon. What will be the 10th hour?
7.
Hey, 9. Let's restart the question again. I'm jumping in 3. 3rd hour is 9 a.m. The 6th hour is 12 noon. And the 9th hour is 3 p.m. So the 10th hour will be 4 o'clock.
4.
Yes.
Hey, then I didn't hear well.
I know you didn't hear. That's why I went back. So they met Jesus around 4 o'clock. And when they encountered Jesus around 4 o'clock, he took them home. He considered 4 o'clock evening enough to host a stranger. No, you see, this is deeper level. This love is deep. That 4 o'clock p.m., he didn't even have a little time to them and say, go back and sleep. He gave them accommodation, shelter, from 4 o'clock to the following morning. That's interesting. So they stayed with Jesus for the night. They stayed with Jesus, meaning in the same room.
Yeah.
Sister, this is a very serious message. God allowed people he has met for the first time to share his room. Will it happen that a priest or a deliverance minister allowed team members to even share his bedroom with him for one night after administration?
Oh, we do.
We finish all night and people are staying too far. We don't even open the missions for them to rest. Though we know they are living in a dangerous grounds. Let's learn from Jesus small. The wickedness in the community of Christ is becoming too much. No, the people use their money to build the churches. They use their money to build the mission houses. Friends and family members who contributed zero come and they spend 1 week. We go for program, return late in the night, and people must walk through the dark and go. They don't even have the courage to say, Father, can I sleep with you because you won't allow. And on our campuses, you see this brother at Pastor Romana meeting, this sister at Charismatic Renewal meeting, and you know she is perching, is that what they say? At a place that is very uncomfortable, and you have a whole house room to yourself because your parents can afford. Can you be a brother in Christ and a sister in Christ? So Jesus allowed 2 strangers to stay in his room for a whole night. May he make us humble.
Amen. 40.
Yes.
One of the 2 who heard John speak and followed him was Andrew, Simon Peter's brother. He first found his brother Simon and said to him, "We have found the Messiah," which means Christ.
Wait you. Let's begin to do geography in the Gospel of John. John the Baptist saw Jesus around the Jordan. Is that not the case?
Yeah.
That is around Jerusalem. Peter stayed in Galilee. That's 4 days journey away. And look at the aggression with which Andrew brings him. Just after 1 day of encountering Jesus, he runs and brings the brother. Look at the journey Andrew had to make. And I'm drawing attention to this long journey because at the end, Peter will become more important than Andrew.
Sure.
He introduced Andrew to Jesus, Peter to Jesus in one of the hardest way. And after introducing him to Jesus, he becomes higher. And yet, Andrew never feels jealous. When you project and the person is elevated, how do you feel? Are you joyful because for your sake somebody is elevated? Are you happy because you are the reason why somebody is lifted up? Are you celebrating the victory of somebody you helped? Or you are crying within? Andrew is a big man. And you know Andrew also will be crucified. Not around Jerusalem, but around India. He wouldn't disturb his brother at all. And you know, another strange thing. Andrew followed Jesus voluntarily. But when Jesus was speaking the 3 crusades, Andrew was not selected. It was Peter who was invited by Andrew. Then James and John, that Jesus invited himself. And Andrew didn't have problem. He stayed a believer. And the John chapter 6 we had as today's first reading. Look at how interesting it is. It is Andrew who will bring in the young boy who brought in the 5 loaves. I have seen him, and that is enough. My intention is to follow Jesus. Any other thing is bonus. To have him is all I have. It's all I need. And if we should have a lot of Christians with that heart, the church will change. There will be no jealousy, infightings, backbiting, and all the other stuff. This is what Andrew presents to us. He seeks Peter from a very far away place in order to bring him to Jesus, only for Jesus to reject Peter. The favor was coming to the family. He didn't worry. My sister is speechless.
God will help us.
The life of Andrew is interesting.
Of course.
So let's shift our focus back to Jesus. No, Andrew is bringing Peter to Jesus. We are going back to Jesus.
He brought him to Jesus.
God.
Jesus looked at him and said, "So you are Simon, the son of John.
Simon, the son of John.
You shall be called Cephas," which means Peter.
Rock.
The next day, Jesus decided to go to Galilee.
So, Peter comes and gets a change of name. And then after one day, Jesus is going back to where Peter returned from. Is it not interesting?
Very, very interesting.
He's getting back to where Jesus was. And Peter was. So he determines the journey. And that also shows the zealousness of Andrew. He could have found out Jesus will be going to my hometown soon. I have a brother there who needs to follow you.
Of course.
So in that way, Jesus will by all means visit your home, but don't wait for that day before you follow him. Follow now. The following will take him there. Yeah. And you know that when Jesus will begin going to Galilee, it is Peter's house he will be dwelling, not Andrew's house. You don't want to go to the Peter-Andrew controversy. Otherwise, you won't finish John.
Yeah, sure. Verse 43. The next day, Jesus decided to go to Galilee, and he found Philip and said to him, "Follow me."
So Jesus is, if it was to be a quiz, the first person Jesus called to follow him was Philip.
Yes, Philip.
Yes.
Now Philip was from Bethesda.
Yes.
Bethesda.
And you know, Philip will become the best friend of Andrew.
Yeah. The city of Andrew and Peter.
Okay.
Philip found Nathanael and said to him, "We have found him of whom Moses in the law and also the prophet wrote,
Okay.
Jesus of Nazareth,
Okay.
the son of Joseph."
So Nathanael is Bartholomew.
Okay.
So look at John's way of bringing in the disciples together.
Yeah.
The recruitment of the disciples was done in 2 ways. The first, even 3 ways. The first was introduced by John.
Yeah.
Then one went to bring in another. And then Jesus calls one. And the one Jesus calls bring in another. So no matter how you got into him, you must bring somebody. If it was John who pushed you there, you can still bring in Peter. If it's Jesus himself who called you through vision or revelation, you should still bring in Bartholomew or Nathanael. No matter how you got to him, bring in somebody.
Nathanael said to him,
Okay.
"Can anything good come out of Nazareth?"
The greatest insult in the Bible. So Nathanael is a very serious philosopher. Come and follow Jesus and you're asking me,
"Can anything good?"
So the hometown is negative, so there should be no positive person there.
Because Jesus was the son of Joseph.
No, Nathanael didn't even know Joseph. The town, please, nobody should feel offended. Imagine you say somebody is from Zungu in Ghana. Who in his normal, natural sense want to follow a Zungu boy?
They are ruffians.
And that was the nature of Nazareth. It was like Ghana's, please, I don't know the place, I only heard the name that they are like that. If I'm I'm getting it wrong, you forgive me. Ashamai. You see the way people talk about Ashamai?
Personally, I'm not really heard.
Yes. Because you don't go out. They say we want to talk about radicality in Ghana. They are the headquarters.
Oh.
Yes. Like mention Abu Abu in Kumasi. You get the point now.
Yeah.
And you come and tell me the saviors from Abu Abu.
How possible?
How possible? Can anything good come from Nazareth? Then Philip didn't debate. And this is one of the tricks of Christian salvation presentation. Don't debate the doubter. Invite him to Jesus. The doubter doesn't need more words. He needs prayer encounter. So at times, the one you want to convince to follow Jesus should just be invited for the prayer encounter. Nathanael said, can something good come from Nazareth? Philip didn't debate. What did Philip do? Come and see. So this is the second come and see in the gospel.
Yeah.
You remember Jesus telling Philip, come and see.
Come and see, sure.
He went, saw, and started calling people. And now, Philip is also telling his brother, come and see. Just tell somebody, come and see. I can't describe.
Come.
Just come and see. Okay, so he's coming.
Philip said to him, come and see.
Okay.
Jesus saw Nathanael coming to him and said of him, behold, an Israelite indeed, in whom is no guile. Nathanael said to him, how do you know me? Jesus answered him, before Philip called you, when you were under the fig tree, I saw you. Nathanael answered him, Rabbi, you are the Son of God.
Look at it.
Now he has come to believe.
Go.
You are the King of Israel.
Look at what prayer encounter is doing. He just said, we have heard of the one the prophets talk about. He came to verify whether the one from Nazareth is somebody important. When he came, he didn't just call him rabbi as the others would do. But now he declares Jesus as the Son of God. And then the King of Israel. So, interestingly, you should believe straight away that Nathanael was a prophet.
Yeah.
No, his name is from Nathan, then El, God. So Nathanael comes and straight away has a revelation of Jesus. A revelation deeper than the Peter who has a change of name. Deeper than Andrew was the first to encounter. Deeper than Philip who even brought in Nathanael. And look at what Jesus will tell Nathanael. Something that others couldn't hear.
Jesus answered him,
Jesus will answer Nathanael.
because I said to you,
God.
I saw you under the fig tree.
God.
Do you believe?
God.
You shall see greater things than these.
Yeah.
And he said to him, truly, truly, I say to you, you will see heaven opened and the angels of God ascending and descending upon the Son of Man.
So straight away, he links him up to the story of Jacob. You get it?
Yeah.
In Genesis, when Jacob was going to Laban, the beginning of the breakthrough of Jacob was that encounter where he slept on the rock and saw angels ascending and descending on the Son of Man, seated in heaven. And that became the breakthrough. So in a sense, Jesus was telling Nathanael, you are the next Jacob, the next Israel. I am forming a new community in you. I am lifting up beyond. You are a true Israel. I know. I know Israel is Jacob.
Yes.
But I'm creating a new Israel. So the new covenant is introduced here. The Lamb of God came to introduce the new covenant, the new and everlasting covenant. And through the encounter with Nathanael, Jesus gives a clue to that fact that a new kingdom is about to be introduced. And you become an important figure in that kingdom. So you will see what great people see. So in a sense, the disciples are patriarchs now. They have been elevated to the level of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So when you become a good container, you are elevated to the level of the patriarchs. Is it not what you have now?
Sure.
Are the apostles not called the patriarchs or the leaders of our faith?
Yeah.
So that is it. And actually, Jesus did it. He made them great. So when you come, he also make you great.
Sure.
Yes. So let's continue. Nathaniel, greatness.
On the third day,
The third day.
there was a marriage at Canaan in Galilee.
So Galilee is a big community. And Cana is one of the prominent towns. And I hope you get the point now.
Yes.
Like Jesus comes to Ashanti region and enters Kumasi. And Nazareth may be like a small community. So he went to Cana in Galilee.
And the mother of Jesus was there. Jesus also was invited to the marriage with his disciples. When the wine gave out, the mother of Jesus said to him, "They have no wine." And Jesus said to her, "Oh, woman, what have you to do with me? My hour has not yet come."
Please, we are in Easter. So I will reverse you back to the start of chapter 2. He gets to Galilee. After encountering first disciples, people believing in him. And on the third day,
Was invited to a wedding.
yes, he gets to a wedding. On the third day, resurrection. So on the third day in Cana, people experience the glory of the resurrection in the marriage feast. He had a late invitation, and he still responds to it. Then he goes in with strangers he brought from Jerusalem. Anyway, many of them were Galileans, almost all of them were Galileans. And when they went there, there was shortage. And Mary just go to Jesus and say, do something. He has disciples, but he feels it's not time for him to make miracles. You see how interesting it is?
Yeah.
He has started ministering. People have even discovered him as God. The Son of God and the King of Israel. And yet the Son of God and the King of Israel is slow in performing miracles. He listens to the mother first and then does something. The input is that we should be more interested in projecting Jesus than in performing miracles.
Project Jesus.
Yes. So, Jesus, look at the way Jesus addressed the mother. How did he address him?
"Oh, mother, what have you to do with me?
Is that the
My hour has not yet."
is that the RSV?
Yes, please.
A very good translation will call woman, not mother.
Hey,
Yes.
it's "oh, woman."
Yes. I knew there was something wrong. Because immediately the Greek comes to mind. And that mention of woman goes straight to Genesis. Eve. So Mary is described in the way God described Eve at the fall. Now, at the marriage feast, there is an impending danger. Imagine the joys at Eden and how the devil enters to destroy the joy. And they needed a restoration of the joy. And God said, a son of the woman will crush the snake's head. So the new Eve, who is Mary, is telling Jesus, start salvation now. So it's not just about provide wine. It's about prevent disaster. So the request of Mary was not just about provide wine. It was about save them. How do you save them? Are you ending the party? Will you end the wedding so that everybody will go home? I hope you get the point now.
Yes.
So Mary went to Jesus not with a direct invitation for wine. It was about save them.
Yeah.
And anyway, Mary believed Jesus can perform miracles. Why? Privately, she has encountered him. And she has enjoyed miracles from Jesus. That is why in public, she is bold enough to say, could do something. Intervene. So woman. So Jesus refers to Mary as the new Eve. Said the salvation will come back. Even before I save you, I will prevent disgrace. So he will prevent disgrace, and the person will still be in bondage, waiting for salvation finally. It means that you can enjoy miracles without getting saved.
Sure.
Yes. You can enjoy miracles without getting saved. So 6 salvation, not just miracles. 6 salvation, not just miracles. So woman, time is not up, but Mary will tell the servants. So when they are talking about Mary, John will call her mother. But when Jesus is talking about Mary, Jesus will call her woman. And this thing will be repeated under the cross. Woman, there is your son. So keep that one in mind. So I told you, John is a theologian. He's reflecting upon the life of Jesus. And he chooses words to reflect a lot of passages in the Old Testament. Good.
His mother said to the servant,
Good.
do whatever he tells you.
Eve did what the devil said and refused to listen to what God said. Now the new Eve says, don't listen to nature. Listen to God. Yes.
Now 6 stone jars were standing there for the Jewish rite of purification, each holding 20 or 30 gallons. Jesus said to them, fill the jars with water, and they filled them up to the brim.
So they have been able to use all the 6 jars and they were all empty. And Jesus asked them to fill them again.
Then the wedding, the people came.
Papa. Well, it says one of the jars contains how many gallons?
It says 10 to what?
12 gallons.
12 gallons.
And you know a gallon? Gallon is 4.5 liters.
Yeah.
And you know liter, that big Baltic bottle.
The party, people will enjoy it.
And he's blessing, one of the jars contains 12 gallons. So 12 by 4, right?
Some holding 20 or 30.
So he's talking about a minimum of 80-liter containers. 100 liters containers. So you can imagine a small poly tank in your house.
Yeah.
And he fills 6 small poly tanks. Look at the plentiful one he's about supplying. They just cannot drink.
And overflow.
And that will repeat itself in the feeding of the multitude. That we read about in John chapter 6. So when he is giving, he doesn't give in small quantities.
No.
So when you begin to pray for miracle, look for a bigger container.
Okay.
And expect greater things. And I love these guys. Fill them and they fill it to the brim. Which servants do you surround your life with? When you surround yourself with lazy people, you won't get more miracles. Because at this time, the celebrant of the marriage feast was seriously at the feast. He never noticed what will happen. But because he has selected the best of humanity, they could do the best of work. The people you journey with, if they have to fill your containers, will they fill to the brim or they won't start? Many people go after flashy people. They go after flashy friends. They go after people who are luxurious and dadalistic and papalistic. Now they call slave queens and this sort of people. But this guy has servants who were serviceable. And they fill the jars to the brim. Be around good people and let good people surround your party.
Great.
Yes. Verse 8.
He said to them,
God.
now draw some out and take it to the steward of the feast. So they took it.
So humble servants. They didn't need taste on the way.
No. He said obey whatever he tells you. So
They were just obeying.
yes. When the steward of the feast tasted the water, now become wine, and did not know where it came from, though the servant who had drawn from the water knew. The steward of the feast called the bridegroom and said to him, every man deserves the good wine first, and when men have drunk freely, then the poor wine. But you have kept the good wine until now.
This is interesting. The steward is now blaming the wedding host for hiding because normally before the marriage ceremony, the steward will be given all the food items.
Yeah.
Everything will be given to him. Then he will start work. So now he's even saying, you don't trust me. You didn't give me the all of them. No, when you invite Jesus to the scene, he provides the extra.
Of course.
He provides the extra. And the steward just allow it. Taste and say, brah, why now? And brah is confused. Because brah doesn't know where it came from.
He doesn't know.
So look at it. Now we get back to the faith dimension. The one who enjoyed the miracle of Jesus didn't know where the miracle came from.
Of course.
The one who was saved from disgrace didn't know the source. The steward who was in charge didn't know the source. And those who enjoy didn't know the source. Many of the things we enjoy come from God and we never know. And we never appreciate. So, we are really indebted in showing gratitude. We can't show enough. Yes. Yes.
This, the first of his signs, Jesus did at Cana in Galilee and manifested his glory, and his disciples believed in him. After this,
so these disciples will Nathanael be part. He has already expressed his faith already.
So the disciples believed.
Yes, he has already established with him. So this word believe here is a deepening of faith. I hope you get the point.
Yes.
It's not an initial encounter. So those who encountered him are now able to build a faith based on the miracle. And it is only the disciples that believed in him. Not the guest at the marriage feast. Not the host. And not the steward. I hope you see now. Yeah. So when we encounter Jesus and we don't have an initial faith in him, he will still do good to us and we won't realize where the goodness comes from. That means we need to build that initial faith, initial reliance, so that when we encounter him deeply, we can enjoy him fully. So now there have been 2 journeys.
Sure.
Yes. So we journey to the next journey.
Verse 12.
Yes.
After this, he went down to Capernaum with his mother and his brothers and his disciples, and there they stayed for a few days.
So they didn't stay there for long. Yes.
The Passover of the Jews was at hand, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem.
So this went up will be repeating itself a lot in the gospel according to John. Because Jerusalem is the highest mountain. So no matter where you are located, when you are coming, you'll be coming up. Now Jesus has been able to perform miracles down. But Israel believed that every miracles are done on the mountain of the Lord. So they believe that if you want to encounter miracle, come to Jerusalem. Now Jesus is changing the story. You don't need to come to Jerusalem to encounter miracle. You have to come to Jesus. And this is going to be the narration from now. So he will be healing outside the church environment. He will be making miracles outside the church environment. And he will later explain that the church environment is not for miracle working. It's for something else. And that's what we are going to discover. So now the center of worship is becoming Jesus.
Yeah.
And no more the temple. And that's how he started changing the Old Testament system.
Verse 14.
Yes.
In the temple, he found those who were selling oxen and sheep and pigeons, and the money changers at their businesses.
I hope you know the reason why they were selling these animals.
For sacrifice.
Yes, the animals were going to be used to serve in the church.
Yeah.
So the benefit of the selling was that strangers can easily get the animals right there and worship the Lord with it. That was the human interpretation and understanding. And that made it a bit easier for those who wanted to worship. And Jesus will tell us the church should not be the easiest environment. It should be the obeying environment. Let's repeat that. The church environment is not an environment for easy life. It's an environment for obedience. So if you can do things that can make life easy and they are contrary to the will of God, we must stop. You don't come to church to find an easy life. You come to church to find salvation through Jesus. I hope you get the point. He created an easy life at the party. He didn't let them go through all the tedious processes of getting wine. He provided it at the party. But when he came to church, he expected those in church to go through rigorous life, obedience, and not just an easy life. So they were selling in the temple. They were going to use the animals for sacrifices. They were going to use it in the temple for good. And he says, no way. Verse 15.
And making a whip of cords.
I hope you know cord, the cincher the masters use.
Yes.
So he combined about 4 cinches and made the whip. He bind them. He took his time. He took his time to develop the whip. Yes.
He drove them all with the sheep and oxen out of the temple, and he poured out the coins of the money changers and overturned their tables. And he told those who sold the pigeons, "Take these things away. You shall not make my father's house a house of trade."
So in cleansing the temple, he did not destroy the trade of the people.
No.
Look at how he patiently asked them to take the dove out. Because if he had opened the cages, the doves would have scattered. And the owners wouldn't get them back.
Yeah.
He drove the sheep out because the owners can easily gather them. He drove the ocean up. The owners can easily gather them. When you throw over coins, they don't have feet to walk. You can pick your coins and go. And he told the dove sellers, take it away. So Jesus does good without causing harm.
Jesus does good without causing.
He intervenes in the temple, cleanses the temple, but does not destroy anything. He turns the table down. He didn't break the tables. So please, when you're interpreting John chapter 2, don't say he was angry.
Of course.
He was acting with reason and common sense.
Thank you, because that place, people really say it.
That is why this is the word became flesh.
Scatter, scatter.
In a word became flesh, we don't just believe in popular opinions.
Scatter, scatter.
But the Bible never mention anger. So why do we impose it on Jesus? He saw something wrong and he acted. And he expects us to act when we see something wrong, even if it is ancient and old. When Jesus is angry, it will be told. I hope you get the point.
Yeah.
When we get to where he was angry, we will see.
Yes.
The Pharisees will anger him, and everybody will know he was angry. So let's move on.
17.
Yes.
His disciples remembered that it was written,
Yes.
zeal for thy house will consume me.
So the disciples knew what was written, though Jesus was not literate. So the disciples were people who knew the word, but couldn't interpret it well. So let's go. Then the Jews.
The Jews then said to him, what signs have you to show us for doing this?
So they know that they were wrong. But they know that one who could correct them was a king. So what makes you a king? To cleanse the temple. You get the point? So now they were looking for a sign that makes Jesus a Messiah. Right in John chapter 2.
Yeah.
Then Jesus responded.
Jesus answered them, destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up.
And they refused to destroy it. No, if you want a proof, destroy it. 3 days I will raise it up. Then the Jews
then said, it has taken 46 years to build this temple, and you will raise it up in 3 days?
How many years did it take for your parish church to be built?
But he spoke of the temple.
No, this is serious endurance.
Sure.
They gave God the best. 46 years to build a temple. They were not in a rush to build.
No.
They were not in a rush. They were doing everything good. They made it good. Yes, we know Jesus was talking about the temple of his body, and that is John's interpretation. But the Jews didn't understand it in a spiritual sense.
No.
They knew he was talking about a physical temple. Now you can't blame Jesus for this because he said destroy, he didn't destroy. And do you know when they will understand it as his body? Do you know when they will understand? That will be after chapter 21. So now he discovered that John is not just giving a chronological narration. He's not giving a day-to-day activity of Jesus, but he's interpreting the day-to-day activity of Jesus based on the entire life of Jesus. When you read verse 22, you get it where. Maybe let's read 22, then you get it where. What I want to drive at where.
Then therefore he was raised from the dead.
When he was raised from the dead.
When therefore he was raised from the dead,
Yeah.
his disciples remembered that he had said this.
You remember now.
Yeah.
So now, destroy the temple and in 3 days I will build it. They didn't know it was about his body until after resurrection. So Easter is the time to get revelations. After 40 days fasting, we are in the 50 days of revelation. Be serious about knowing a lot. It is the learning time. That's why we're reading Acts of the Apostles, we're reading Gospel of John. It is the learning moment of the Christian life. Allow God to reveal a lot of things to you. And the greatest revelation you need is the revelation of the Holy Spirit. That you encounter at Pentecost. So this is what I wanted to draw attention to. That the things John is writing now, he didn't understand it at the time it happened. It took the post-resurrection experience for him to understand it this way. Yes.
And they believed in the scripture.
God.
And the word which Jesus had spoken.
Yeah.
Now when he was in Jerusalem at the Passover feast, many believed in his name, when they saw the signs which he did.
So he was performing miracles during the festival. And that brought in a lot of people to him. And the very last 2 verses. Are the things, I'm very happy it is coming to the end of the day. We must keep it so seriously. So let me patiently allow you to read the last 2 verses. And I know you yourself is going to be shocked.
But Jesus did not trust himself to them, because he knew all men and needed no one to bear witness of man, for he himself knew what was in man.
Now, this is my point. If God, who created human beings, don't trust them, why are you in a rush to trust people so much? Sister, at times we are funny. Aren't we? Yeah. Say, funny we. I mean, God didn't trust humanity. Even when they were following him and believing in him, he didn't trust them. And you, young men, you want to trust people. Let us be careful. We need to be careful, pa. We need to be careful, pa. I wanted to read the same text for another version, but good. Good, thank God. But Jesus, for his part, did not trust himself to humanity. He knew all men, not just some. He did not need anyone to bear witness concerning man. He needed no evidence from anyone about man. He himself knew what was in human beings and human nature, and he could read men's hearts. And straight away, we can go back to 1 Samuel 16:7. Let's get to the Old Testament as we end today. Chapter 16, verse
7.
In the house of Jesse.
But the Lord
during the anointing of David.
But the Lord said to Samuel.
The Lord said to Samuel,
do not look on his appearance.
Don't look on appearance.
Or on the height of his stature.
Or on the height of his stature.
Because I have rejected him.
Because I have rejected him.
For the Lord sees not as man sees.
Good.
Man looks on the outward appearance.
Good.
But the Lord looks on the heart.
How I wish we could see like God. How I wish we could see like God. And I offer this as our prayer intention throughout this week until we meet again. Many a times we share our secrets, thinking that this is, I'm not frightening you. Why would the church make a priest vow to keep secret before he's ordained, if men can be trusted? The church does not even trust the priest. Are you scared or surprised? The church, the Catholic Church, has given the deposit of faith to the priest. Is that not the case?
Yeah.
But the church does not trust the priest. Well, the church knows that if we are not careful, the priest can destroy people. So the priest is bound by confessional secrecy. It is a law. And it is punishable by dismissal from ordination. And it is only after that the church allows you to listen to people's confession. And strangely, the priest the church don't trust some lay people. And share everything about him with them. And things nobody will hear. Many of the scandals that we hear about on the radio did not happen in our generation. They happened so many years ago. But because people didn't take so much interest in it and felt it's normal, we have covered it over, nobody got to know, nothing will happen, it is everywhere. Now the church is paying very big for it. Please, don't trust too much. Maybe read Micah, Old Testament, chapter 7, Micah.